The hum of the station was constant, a soft vibration that threaded through the walls and under Alara Miles's feet. It was a sound she had grown used to over the months she had spent on the outpost orbiting exoplanet Vera 9. The planet below shimmered in hues of green and silver, its dense clouds swirling like liquid metal, a beauty that no photograph could ever capture. Despite the awe-inspiring view, tonight Alara felt a peculiar tension in the air, one she could not explain. She was late, as usual. The night shift ran long, and her research on the newly discovered microbial life forms consumed her more than it should. Normally, the station's AI would remind her of the hour, or at least alert her when essential systems needed monitoring, but tonight, there was no reminder, no warning, just the low hum and a whisper. At first, she thought it was her imagination. A fleeting sound, like the wind brushing against a window in an old, abandoned house. But the whisper came again, clearer this time, a name soft, melodic, repeated over and over in the quiet room. It was unfamiliar, yet it stirred something deep in her memory. Alara, the voice murmured, almost teasingly. She froze, her hand hovering over a console she had been typing on. The sound did not come from the speakers. The room's sensors were silent, showing no anomalies. Even the AI, ever vigilant, gave no response to her questioning tones. Alara, come closer. Her heart skipped a beat. There was no logic here, and yet the sound felt real, alive. She stood and slowly walked toward the observation deck. The walls of the station were lined with glass panels, revealing the vastness of space outside. Stars glittered like scattered diamonds across the black canvas, and Vera 9 rotated lazily beneath, clouds swirling in hypnotic patterns. The whispers seemed to come from everywhere, and nowhere at once. They carried a warmth, an almost human quality, that made her skin tingle. "Who's there?" she asked aloud, her voice trembling just slightly. The echo of her own words made the room feel even larger, emptier, and strangely alive. No answer came, but the name returned. Alara. She shivered. Something about the way it sounded made her feel recognized, important, almost as if the universe itself was calling her forward. She had spent her career studying alien life forms, yet never before had she felt so personally connected to an unknown presence. Her curiosity, always stronger than her fear, drove her onward. She moved past the rows of sleeping quarters and abandoned labs, her footsteps steady against the hum of the station. Every surface she passed seemed ordinary, yet she couldn't shake the feeling that they were watching her. Not in a threatening way, but in careful, measured observation. Finally, she reached the observation deck. It was a wide, open space that had once been used for mapping Vera 9's surface. The deck was mostly empty now. A relic from an older mission. Dust particles floated in the light of the control panels, sparkling like tiny stars. She paused, looking around. The whisper had stopped. Silence settled, heavy and complete. For a moment, she wondered if it had all been a trick of her mind, a symptom of isolation, exhaustion, or the long months without direct human contact. And then she saw it. A faint glimmer in the corner of the room, almost like sunlight refracted through crystal, though the station had no natural light. It pulsed softly, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. She took a cautious step forward, drawn by curiosity she could not suppress. The glimmer expanded, revealing a strange, geometric shape embedded in the wall. It was a piece of alien technology, something far older than the station itself. Its surface shimmered with a light that seemed to move beneath it, patterns shifting and twisting, forming shapes that hinted at knowledge she could not yet comprehend. Alara reached out, her hand trembling slightly. The moment her fingers brushed the surface, the whisper returned, louder now, clearer. Alara. It was not just a sound now, it was a presence, a thought, a feeling. She felt warmth, intelligence, and admiration. The artifact responded to her touch. Lines of glowing text appeared in the air, floating before her eyes. She could not read them fully, not yet. But the shapes felt familiar in some strange way, as if the meaning was buried in her mind, rather than on the surface. A surge of energy coursed through her. Not painful, but electrifying. She stepped back, breathing heavily, realizing that what she was experiencing was unlike anything in human history. She had touched something alive, something aware, something that had been waiting for her. "Elara," the whisper said again, now from inside her mind as well as the room. "You see me?" Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I see. Something. But what are you?" The response came not as words, but as images, memories not her own. Visions of worlds beyond Vera 9. Civilizations she could barely imagine. And beings who existed in forms that transcended human understanding. She saw intelligence that was not confined by flesh or machines, a consciousness that had observed the universe quietly, patiently, and without interference. And then she understood, slowly. The whispers, the name, the pull she had felt. It was not random. This presence had been searching, observing, waiting for someone who could understand, who could rise to the challenge of human potential. Her own mind reeled with the implications. A being capable of perceiving more than humans ever could had chosen her, of all people, as the one to see it. To understand it, to begin a connection that could change the future of her species. Yet she was not naive. She had studied alien life forms, and she knew that not all advanced beings were benevolent. Many would use humans, manipulate them, or see them as nothing more than experiments. But this felt different. The presence exuded curiosity, admiration, and a strange patience. It was not here to harm her, not to control her, but to test her, to see if she, the embodiment of humanity's drive and intellect, could rise to what it wanted to show her. "Elara," the whisper repeated. "You are ready." She swallowed hard, feeling a mix of fear, wonder, and exhilaration. Ready for what? She wondered. To learn? To act? To see the universe as humans had never seen it before? The artifact pulsed brighter, almost urgently, and for a moment, Elara felt herself transported, not physically, but mentally, to a vision of the station itself. The AI, the crew, the planet below, all interconnected in ways she could not yet comprehend. The presence was showing her potential, hinting at what humans could achieve if they dared to reach beyond themselves. Her fingers pressed harder against the artifact, steadying herself. She felt a connection, a bridge forming between her mind and this consciousness. Every fear, every doubt, every question she had ever held about life beyond Earth seemed to dissolve in the presence of something greater. The whisper was gentle now, almost affectionate. "Do not fear the unknown. You will see, and you will understand. Humanity is more than its limits." Tears pricked her eyes, not of sadness, but of awe. The realization that humans, her species, flawed yet brilliant, determined yet fragile, were capable of greatness filled her entirely. It was a validation she had never known she needed. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, the whisper faded. The artifact dimmed, leaving her alone on the observation deck. The stars outside the window twinkled as usual. The hum of the station was steady once more. Elara sank into a chair, her hands trembling. She knew, without a doubt, that something extraordinary had begun tonight. She could feel it in her bones, in her mind, in the way her very heart beat faster than it ever had before. Somewhere, out there, a consciousness was watching, waiting, hoping that humanity would rise to meet it. And now, it had chosen her to be its first witness. Elara took a deep breath, staring out at Vera 9 below. The planet was beautiful, but small. The universe beyond it was vast, and full of mysteries that she had only begun to glimpse. She felt a surge of purpose, a drive that she had never known. The whispers had stopped for now, but she knew they would return. And when they did, she would be ready, because something inside her had changed forever. Something had awakened, and the journey, her journey, humanity's journey was only beginning. Alara could hardly sleep that night. Her quarters felt smaller than usual, crowded with thoughts and questions that demanded answers she could not yet find. The whispers had stopped, leaving only an echo in her mind. It was as if the presence had deliberately withdrawn, giving her space to think, to wonder, and to prepare. She sat by her window, staring at Vera 9's glowing clouds, and tried to imagine what lay beyond the known stars. Morning brought no relief. The station's corridors were filled with routine noises, the whir of life support systems, the distant hum of engines, and the quiet footsteps of her fellow crew members going about their duties. To them, it was just another day, orbiting a beautiful, alien world. To Alara, it was the beginning of something extraordinary. She returned to the observation deck, hoping that the artifact might reveal more. Its faint glimmer had disappeared with the whispers, leaving only its cold, smooth surface. Yet when she approached, she felt it again, a subtle pulse beneath her fingers. A hint of energy that suggested it was alive in ways she had yet to understand. Alara, a voice said in her mind. Gentle, patient, familiar. Her heart leapt. You're here again? She whispered, not caring if anyone overheard her. Yes, the voice replied. But not as before. Today, you must see more than a shadow. Today, you must begin to understand. She drew in a deep breath. The curiosity that had driven her across light years now surged forward like a tide. I want to understand, she said, her voice steady. Show me. The artifact responded immediately. Light spiraled along its surface, forming shapes that twisted and shifted faster than her eyes could follow. Then, as if a door had opened in her mind, a vision unfolded. She was no longer in the observation deck. Instead, she hovered above the station. Seeing it from outside, its modules were sleek and advanced, yet fragile against the vastness of space. Then the vision widened. She saw humans on distant planets, building colonies, cultivating strange plants, and discovering new forms of energy. They were small, almost insignificant from this perspective. Yet there was a force within them that was undeniable. Determination, intelligence, creativity. The voice in her mind spoke again. Humans are remarkable, Alara. You see only the surface of your species' potential. I have watched for centuries. Most do not notice me. Most do not imagine the possibilities. But you are capable of seeing beyond. Alara's breath caught in her throat. The thought that one being could have observed humanity for centuries without interference both humbled and frightened her. Why me? She asked. Why now? Because you are ready. The voice replied. You possess curiosity without fear, intelligence balanced with heart, and a drive to create and to understand. These qualities are rare, even among humans. You will act as a bridge, a witness, and a guide. But first, you must see the truth of your kind. The vision changed again. She saw humans in conflict. Yes, struggling and failing in many ways. But she also saw how they adapted, how they learned from mistakes, how compassion and courage often turned the tide of impossible situations. They built tools from imagination, solved problems with creativity, and reached for stars despite all odds. It is this spirit, the voice said, that defines humans. Not strength alone, not speed, not size, but spirit, the spark of imagination, the capacity for empathy, the ability to rise from failure. I have watched many species, Alara. Few have these traits in such abundance. That is why I am here now. That is why I have chosen you. Alara felt tears prick her eyes. It was more than praise, it was a revelation. To be recognized by a being so advanced, so different from anything human, was awe-inspiring, and yet, she also felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. Show me more, she said, voice trembling slightly. Teach me what I must know. The artifact pulsed again, and the room around her dissolved into another vision. She was on a foreign world, far from Vera 9, standing among alien landscapes of color and shape she could not have imagined. Towering crystalline structures reached into the sky, and rivers of liquid shimmered in hues she had no names for. Alien life forms moved gracefully, their forms elegant and diverse, yet she could sense intelligence in every gesture. The voice explained, "This is a world that humanity may encounter in the future. Not all encounters will be hostile. Some will be opportunities for growth, for exchange, for learning. But you must see the potential, the choices you will face. Humanity's decisions will echo far beyond your world." Alara moved through the vision with a mixture of awe and trepidation. She felt a pull toward one of the crystalline towers. As she approached, she saw images within the walls, visions of humans and aliens working together, creating technologies that merged their strengths, building cities that blended cultures, and exploring the universe with a sense of purpose. "This is the future you can help create," the voice said. "It is not guaranteed. It depends on your choices, and the choices of those like you. Humans have the power to shape not just their own destiny, but the destiny of entire civilizations. You are the beginning of that journey." The vision shifted again, showing her a moment closer to home. A meteor storm, striking a distant human colony. Panic, chaos, and danger, but also ingenuity. Humans constructing shelters from unexpected materials, rerouting energy, coordinating rescue efforts. She saw her own species surviving and thriving not because they were the strongest, but because they were clever, brave, and compassionate. "Alara," the voice whispered, "do you see why I chose you? You understand what others often cannot. You see potential where others see limits. You act when others hesitate. You are ready to be the first witness, the first messenger, of what humans can truly achieve." Alara swallowed hard. Her mind raced, and yet a strange calm settled over her. She understood now that this was not just about discovery or science, it was about humanity's place in the cosmos. She felt pride in her species, yes, but also humility. The responsibility was immense, and yet exhilarating. "Then I will try," she said finally. "I will do what I can to understand, and to help." The vision faded, and she was once again standing on the observation deck. The artifact dimmed to its original, gentle glow. The room felt ordinary now, almost mundane. But Alara knew better. She had glimpsed a greater truth. She had touched the beginning of humanity's journey towards something extraordinary. For hours, she sat silently, letting the revelations sink in. She thought of her colleagues, of the crew on the station, of people across Earth who might never know what awaited them. She thought of the stars, the endless possibilities, and the alien consciousness that had chosen her to witness it all. Her thoughts were interrupted by the station's AI. "Dr. Miles, you have scheduled meetings with the research team in 30 minutes. Its tone was polite, routine, and utterly unaware of the extraordinary events that had just unfolded. Alara smiled faintly. "Thank you, Sess," she said. She would go, but her mind was elsewhere. The AI could manage the schedules, the experiments, the routine, but it could not comprehend the whisper, the vision, the message. That was hers alone. She moved to prepare for the day, walking through the corridors with a new awareness. Every surface, every instrument, every panel now seemed to carry potential. Every small action could ripple outward, creating change. She felt like a bridge, not just for herself, but for her species. Later, during her meetings, she found herself distracted yet focused. Her colleagues discussed microbial samples, atmospheric readings, and communications from Earth. She nodded, contributed, and took notes. But her mind wandered to the visions, to the crystalline towers, to the humans surviving, thriving, and shaping the future. By evening, she returned to the observation deck once more. The whispers had not returned, but she felt a quiet presence, a steady pulse that reassured her. The artifact sat as it always had, unassuming yet powerful, a doorway to understanding that had only begun to open. She placed her hand on it again, not expecting the visions to return immediately, but confident that they would. Confidence, yes, but also patience. She understood now that this was a process, a slow awakening. The presence had chosen her to learn, to witness, to grow, and she would honor that choice. Outside, Vera 9 rotated beneath her, its clouds glowing softly in the dying light of the planet's distant sun. Stars sparkled beyond. Indifferent yet full of potential, she imagined humanity reaching toward them, slowly but surely. Guided by curiosity, courage, and the spark of intelligence that had captured the attention of an ancient being. Alara felt a smile tug at her lips. She was no longer just a scientist on a lonely station. She was a witness, a messenger, a part of something larger than herself, larger than humanity, larger than the known universe. And for the first time in her life, she felt fully awake. The journey had begun, and she was ready. The days passed quickly aboard the station. Yet for Alara, each moment carried a new weight of purpose. She moved through routines with careful precision, yet always with one eye on the observation deck and the artifact that had changed her understanding of the universe. Her colleagues noticed a subtle shift in her demeanor. She was calmer, more focused, yet more aware of the world beyond the station, beyond Vera 9, and even beyond human understanding. The whispers had returned, faint but persistent, calling her to the artifact once more. This time, she did not hesitate. She followed the pull through the corridors, the hum of the station guiding her as if it, too, understood the importance of what was to come. "Alara," the voice said, clear and commanding, yet patient. "The moment has come to test humanity not as a species, but through you. The trial begins now." A shiver ran through her. Not from fear, but from anticipation. She had glimpsed the potential of humans, their resilience, their creativity, and their courage. Now she would witness it firsthand, prove it not through visions, but through action. The station's alarms blared suddenly, sharp and insistent. Red lights flashed, bathing the corridors in urgent color. Alara's heart pounded, yet she remained steady. The AI's calm voice broke through the alarms. "Warning. Meteor storm approaching. Shields at 40%. Structural integrity compromised. Immediate action required." Alara's mind snapped into focus. She knew the station's systems intimately, yet the storm was unlike anything recorded. The meteors were large, moving unpredictably, threatening to strike the station's outer modules. Life support could fail, communications could be disrupted, and the crew could be at risk. She rushed to the command center, her hands moving over the controls with precision. The AI provided data, but decisions required intuition, creativity, and courage, the very traits the alien presence had admired in humans. "Alara," the voice whispered in her mind. "Use what you know. Think beyond the protocols. Humanity's strength is not just in rules, but in imagination." The first meteor struck the station's outer shield. Sparks flew across the displays. The hum of the station shivered as energy surged to compensate for the damage. Alara felt the vibrations in her hands as she rerouted power, her mind calculating angles, energy reserves, and probabilities faster than the AI could process. "We need to reinforce the shields manually," she told the crew, her voice steady. "Take the auxiliary energy lines and redirect them to the forward modules. We have to stabilize the outer hull before the next strike." The crew moved with trust, following her lead. Alara guided them, improvising where standard protocols failed. She repurposed old equipment, constructed temporary relays, and even used the alien artifact's residual energy to strengthen the shield matrix. The whispers guided her, suggesting solutions that she might never have considered alone. A second meteor struck, more massive than the first. The station groaned under the impact, and warning lights blinked furiously. Alara's mind raced. The crew looked to her, their eyes filled with uncertainty and hope. She felt the weight of responsibility, yet she drew strength from the voice and the knowledge that humans could rise to challenges that seemed impossible. "Keep the auxiliary lines stable," she shouted. "Divert energy from non-essential systems. We can do this." The crew followed, their movements precise and synchronized. Alara adjusted the power flow, calculating the trajectory of incoming meteors, predicting their paths, and reinforcing critical points of the station's hull. It was a delicate balance of science, intuition, and courage. The voice in her mind spoke again. "Do not fear failure. Humans learn, adapt, and rise stronger. Show them what they can do." Alara's hands moved with confidence. She rerouted power to shield the command center and life support simultaneously, then created a temporary force field using stored energy from the research labs. Sparks flew, systems overloaded and stabilized, and slowly, the station held. The crew began to cheer quietly, their relief mingled with awe. They had survived an event that should have been catastrophic, guided not by luck, but by human ingenuity and determination. Alara allowed herself a small smile, but she knew this was only the beginning. The meteor storm subsided, leaving the station battered but intact. Damage reports streamed in, and Alara began coordinating repairs. She noticed the artifact pulsing faintly, as if acknowledging her success. The voice whispered once more, proud and steady. "You see, Alara, this is humanity. Not merely surviving, but thriving in the face of impossible odds. Creativity, courage, and empathy, these define your species. This is the trial, and you have passed." Alara exhaled, her body finally relaxing after the intense focus of the crisis. She looked at her crew, seeing not just colleagues, but individuals capable of extraordinary problem-solving and bravery. She realized the truth of what the alien had shown her. Humans were remarkable not because they were perfect, but because they could rise above their limits when faced with challenge. Later, in the quiet of the observation deck, she reflected on the events. The artifact glimmered gently, a silent witness to humanity's achievement. Ilara's mind wandered to the future, imagining humans exploring new worlds, encountering alien civilizations, and facing challenges that would require every ounce of ingenuity and courage they could summon. The voice spoke softly, almost like a sigh of contentment. "Your species is ready, Alara. You have shown that humans can face adversity with wisdom, heart, and creativity. Remember this always. It is not the absence of danger that defines you, but the courage to confront it and the ability to think beyond limits." Ilara's heart swelled with pride. She had faced fear and uncertainty, guided only by her instincts, knowledge, and the subtle presence of the alien intelligence. She had led her crew through a trial that could have ended in disaster. And in doing so, she had proven not just her own capability, but the potential of humanity itself. The station settled into its routine once more. But Alara knew nothing would ever feel ordinary again. She had glimpsed the essence of what made humans extraordinary. The combination of intellect, creativity, courage, and empathy. It was a lesson she would carry with her, a foundation for the journeys to come. As she stood by the window, looking down at the glowing clouds of Vera 9, she understood that the whispers and the artifact were not just tests. They were a guide, a beacon, a call to awaken the potential of her species. The alien presence had chosen her not merely to witness, but to act, to lead, to inspire, and to connect humanity with the broader universe. "Alara," the voice said once more, gentle and certain, "you have proven that humans can rise above fear and limitation. The path ahead is long, but you are ready to walk it. Your species will echo through the stars. And I will watch. Always. With hope and admiration." Tears came unbidden to her eyes, not from fear, but from a profound sense of purpose and connection. She was no longer just a scientist on a distant station. She was a witness to humanity's greatness, a participant in its unfolding story. and a messenger of what could be achieved when courage, creativity, and empathy guided every action. She looked at the artifact one last time before leaving the observation deck. Its light dimmed softly, as if acknowledging her understanding. She knew that the journey was far from over. Many trials awaited, many challenges that would test human ingenuity and spirit. But she also knew that humanity could rise to them, that the species she loved so dearly was capable of greatness beyond her imagination. Alara walked through the corridors with a renewed sense of purpose. The crew moved about their duties, unaware of the silent test that had just taken place, yet forever changed by her guidance. She felt the weight of responsibility, but also the exhilaration of knowing that humanity's story was only beginning, and that one day, others would see humans not as fragile beings on a small planet, but as creatures capable of shaping the universe. She paused at the entrance to the command center, looking back toward the observation deck. The whispers were gone for now, leaving only a quiet pulse of energy that reminded her of the presence watching over her. She smiled, a mixture of gratitude and determination. Humanity had passed its first true test, and she had been its guide. The stars outside the station shimmered like never before, filled with possibility and wonder. Alara knew that the future awaited, filled with challenges, discoveries, and the endless potential of human spirit. And she was ready to meet it, not as a lone scientist, but as a representative of everything humanity could achieve when it dared to rise above limits, to innovate, and to act with heart and courage. For the first time, she truly understood the meaning of the whispers. It was not a call of warning, nor of mere curiosity. It was a call to witness, to act, and to believe, and she would answer it, as she had always known she could. The journey was far from over. The universe stretched endlessly before her, full of mystery and possibility. And Alara, guided by whispers and the wisdom of an ancient presence, would continue to lead humanity forward, one courageous step at a time. The station had returned to calm. The alarms were silent, the crew busy repairing minor damage, and the hum of life support systems filled the corridors once again. Yet for Alara, the quiet was heavy with anticipation. The whispers had faded after the storm, leaving her with only the memory of their guidance and the pulse of the artifact. She knew this was not the end. Something greater awaited her, and perhaps awaited all of humanity. She made her way to the observation deck, her steps measured, calm, but full of resolve. The stars outside twinkled like scattered jewels, and Vera 9 rotated beneath the station, its clouds glowing with the soft light of the planet's sun. Everything seemed ordinary, yet the artifact pulsed with a warmth that spoke to her, inviting her closer. "Alara," the voice said, gentle yet radiant. "You have proven humanity's strength, courage, and ingenuity. You have acted with wisdom and heart. It is time you see me, not as a whisper, not as a shadow, but as I truly am." Her breath caught. The presence she had followed, learned from, and trusted was about to reveal itself fully. She felt no fear, only awe. She knew that whatever appeared would be extraordinary, beyond the limits of human imagination. The artifact's glow intensified, filling the observation deck with light that seemed alive. Shapes formed, folding, and shifting in ways that defied logic, until finally, the energy coalesced into a figure before her. It was humanoid in form, yet unlike any human. Its body shimmered with a translucent light that shifted in colors she could not name. Its eyes, if they could be called eyes, glowed with intelligence and warmth, radiating both curiosity and understanding. Every movement was graceful, deliberate, as if even the air around it responded to its presence. "Alara," it said, its voice resonating not just in her ears, but in her mind. "Do not fear me. I am not your enemy. I am a witness, a guide, and an observer. And I have chosen you to see, to learn, and to carry the knowledge of what humanity can achieve." Alara swallowed, overwhelmed by the sight and the depth of awareness in the being before her. I understand now," she whispered. "The visions, the guidance. You've been showing me humanity's potential." The being inclined its head, and light flowed from it toward the artifact, making it pulse as though alive. "Yes, I have observed your species for centuries. I have seen the potential, the ingenuity, and the courage that defines humans. But observation alone is not enough. Humanity must be tested, must act, and must rise to its challenges. You have done so." She felt a swell of pride, yet humility followed immediately. "It was not just me," she said. "My crew, my species, we all work together. That is what makes humans human." The being's form shimmered in agreement. "Precisely. Humans are remarkable not because of a single individual, but because of the combination of traits you embody as a species: intelligence, creativity, courage, and empathy. These are rare qualities. Many species possess one or two. Few possess all. That is why I have chosen to reveal myself fully now." Ilara's mind raced. Questions she had long pondered flooded forward. Why had it watched humans so long? What did it want from her, or from humanity? How could a being of such power and understanding exist alongside humans without revealing itself sooner? "I seek not to interfere," it said, as if reading her thoughts. "I do not impose my will. I do not demand allegiance or obedience. I am here to witness, to guide, and to ensure that those who are ready, those who can see beyond fear and limitation, are given the knowledge to shape their own destiny." She nodded slowly, feeling a deep resonance with its words. "And now, it is time for humans to take that next step?" "Yes," the being replied. Its voice, soft yet profound, filled the deck. "The universe is vast, Ilara. There are countless civilizations, each with their own path. Humanity's path has just begun. You are ready to learn, to act, and to join the larger story of intelligent life. But you must choose to continue, to rise, and to guide others as you have been guided." Ilara took a deep breath, gazing out at the stars. She thought of Earth, the home she had left behind, and of humanity's long journey through curiosity, struggle, and discovery. She understood now that humans were not merely observers of the universe, they were participants, capable of influencing the course of entire civilizations through intellect, courage, and heart. "What must I do?" she asked, her voice steady. "Witness. Learn. Inspire," the being said. "Carry the knowledge of what humans can achieve, and ensure that your species sees its own potential. You will not act alone. Others will follow. Humans will encounter challenges and choices that will define their place in the galaxy. Your role is to awaken the spark of greatness, to remind them of their strengths, and to connect them with those who seek understanding rather than conflict." Ilara nodded again. The weight of responsibility was immense, yet she felt no fear. She felt purpose. The whispers, the visions, and the artifact had all led to this moment. A revelation that humanity was capable of shaping the future, not through domination, but through courage, ingenuity, and empathy. The being extended a hand, its form radiant with light, and a gentle energy flowed into her mind. Knowledge, understanding, and visions of possibilities filled her consciousness. She saw humans colonizing new worlds, forming alliances with alien species, creating technologies that merged science and imagination, and spreading knowledge and culture across the stars. She saw challenges, yes, but always the potential to overcome them. "Remember this, Ilara," the being said. "The greatest strength of humanity is not power, not speed, not size, but the capacity to imagine, to act with courage, and to care for others. The universe will test you, but humans have shown time and again that they rise to the occasion. You are the first witness. Carry this knowledge forward, and humanity will echo through the cosmos." Tears filled Ilara's eyes, but they were tears of joy and awe, not fear. She felt the enormity of her role, yet also the beauty of it. She would be a messenger, a guide, and a witness to the greatness of her species, and she understood now that humans were not limited by the smallness of their planet, the fragility of their bodies, or the short span of their lives. Their potential was limitless when guided by heart, courage, and imagination. The being's light began to fade slowly, the pulsing of the artifact calming in response. "I will not remain in your world," it said softly. "I will watch, as I always have. And I will return only when you are ready to see further. But the spark is yours, Elara, and it belongs to all humans. Protect it, nurture it, and allow it to grow." She stepped forward, feeling a mixture of gratitude and resolve. "I will," she whispered. "I promise. Humanity will not disappoint you." The being inclined its head, radiant and serene, then dissolved into light. The artifact's glow softened, leaving only its gentle pulse as a reminder of the presence that had guided her. For a long moment, Elara stood in silence, the enormity of what had occurred settling around her. The stars outside shone brightly, Veyra 9 turning slowly below, and the station seemed ordinary once again, yet she knew it would never feel ordinary to her again. She returned to her quarters that night with a renewed sense of purpose. She thought of the crew, the scientists, the families back on Earth, and the billions of people who might one day look up at the stars and wonder what lay beyond. She understood now that humans were not mere spectators, they were participants in a vast, interconnected cosmos, capable of creating, discovering, and inspiring. Sleep came eventually, but it was deep and filled with visions of possibilities. She dreamed of humans exploring distant planets, learning from alien civilizations, creating works of art and technology that transcended imagination, and sharing knowledge across the galaxy. She saw herself among them, guiding, witnessing, and inspiring. Morning arrived with quiet light streaming through the observation deck. Elara stood, looking out at Veyra 9 and beyond. The whispers were gone, but she felt the presence's guidance within her mind, subtle yet steady. The message was clear. Humans could rise, and she would be there to remind them of their potential. Her first act of the day was to meet with her crew, sharing her insights and the renewed sense of purpose that had taken root within her. They listened, inspired not only by her words but by the confidence and determination that radiated from her. She spoke of potential, of courage, of creativity, and of the importance of acting with empathy and intelligence in every decision. The crew nodded, understanding that their work, their lives, and their discoveries were part of something larger than themselves. They were participants in a story that stretched across stars, and each action, each decision, mattered. Elara spent the day walking the station, checking systems, observing the crew, and quietly reflecting on the journey that had begun months ago. She knew the artifact would remain, a silent guide for those who were ready, and that the universe held countless mysteries still waiting to be discovered. As night fell on Veyra 9, she returned once more to the observation deck. The stars shimmered, endless and full of possibility. She felt a sense of peace and purpose, knowing that humanity's journey was just beginning. The whispers might return one day, the presence might reveal more, and the universe would continue to test, challenge, and inspire. Elara smiled, her heart full. Humanity had shown its courage, creativity, and spirit. She had seen it, guided it, and understood it. The future stretched before her. Vast, bright, and full of hope. The whispers had been a call, a guide, and a revelation. And now, they had transformed into something more profound. A promise. A promise that humanity, when guided by courage, imagination, and heart, could shine across the stars, leaving echoes of greatness in the universe. Elara turned from the window, ready to meet whatever lay ahead, confident that humans were ready to step into the cosmos, not as timid observers, but as beings capable of wonder, creation, and boundless possibility. The journey had only begun, and she would lead the way, one courageous step at a time.